This movie follows directly on from my cross-border trail film, also on YouTube, starting from Kielder Castle as well. I literally just had to cycle up to the car park here for my bed and breakfast, 2 minutes away, so that's why I was the first one there that day. And here's the entrance to the red ride, which I'm going to just talk you through now, the Deadwood ride. First time I've done this ride. It's rated red, but it's I'd say a little bit harder than the usual red rides I've done in Scotland, and a bit steeper as well. So it was an early single track section through the forest here. That was really good. There was some excellent berm sections, and it was a bright, crisp morning as well, so it was really clear after the rain of the night before. So there was a fair amount of climbing in this early section, up and down, and eventually you come into the three dog climb single track, which is all uphill. And you can see some of it was wet from the rain night before. You can see here the condensation, and some of it was quite techy as well. And so I had to get off the bike and actually look at it before I decided whether or not to ride it. In most cases, I decided not to. Okay, so use your judgment. Going through dark forests, and so this is quite fun, and it's all well marked as usual. You got your usual red routing and all that stuff, so that's no problem. I did have a map which I've lost now. Eventually it opens up and you hit this major crossroads where you can make a choice where you want to go. In the distance there is basically where I went for the cross-border trail ride. If you go up this way, you basically are heading up to the top of Deadwood Fell. This way is the return leg coming down, which is steeper and rougher, so go the way I did and go up the easy way and come down the hard way. And you get these terrific views as you go up, and it probably took me about half an hour to do the ride up. I was just stopping to film and to admire these terrific views of the Kielder forest. And I was under a bit of pressure here because you can see that there's a guy coming up behind me. He's walking. I have to confess I did a bit of walking as well. And it did get a bit steeper, especially towards the end here. You can see how steep it is, even with a mountain bike. The road turns around eventually, and you come to the viewpoint here. And this is where I stopped to have a little bit of something to eat and take this film here. So it's just actually below the top, but this is the best viewpoint. So here you're looking across into the borders of Scotland. So I was here for about 15 minutes appreciating this. There was no hurry at this stage. And you can just see here, if I'm filming up, and you can actually see all the radio station. I don't know what all that was. But here you can see the clouds are starting to turn in the distance, and I was getting a bit worried about the weather. So I decided to push on back home. And on this side, it's looking perfect. So this goes down and meets up where the junction was before. Now this is quite steep and it's quite rocky, so it's you've got to be careful. And you can see Kielder water and where I started the ride from. And I've actually put a bit of myself in there. I'm getting a bit more confident with my filming. You can see that was a techie shot. So the way back is virtually all single track, and it's really nice, but it's quite steep, some of it, and some of it is a bit techie as well. Eventually hit the junction for the black run here. I didn't actually do this section, so I don't know what it's like. Maybe next time. I was getting a bit more concerned about the weather. It was starting to turn, so I was heading back. This looked really fun, this bit, but I didn't quite have the nerve to do it because it was a bit slippery. As you can see, I was walking it, and the rain had started a bit here, even though I was in the forest. So I kind of like chickened out this time. But if it was dry, I would have done it, and it looked great. So back to Kielder for a well-deserved baked potato and a rest, and then I went over to Newcastle by car that afternoon and did the part of the Red Ride, which I haven't filmed, and the Blue Rouge as well. And then I took this final shot here the next morning just to show you this is on the border with England, Scotland, and looking up to the top of where I was the day before. You can just see the towers there, and the weather was terrible that day.